Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the back garden yard. And even though the cucumber plants are at the peak of their bearing potential, and even though the yellow squash are at the peak of their bearing potential, and even though the zucchini plants are tall and lush, and even though the tomato plants are 6 feet tall now, some of them, and just loaded with tomatoes, so even though we're getting a great harvest, the time has come to think about the late summer, fall garden and get it planted. So what I'm going to do is show you how I plant the late summer, early fall garden with 4 different vegetables. It'll be cucumbers, squash, zucchini, and tomatoes. The okra will still be producing, and so will the peppers. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I do a little differently. And the first thing that I do is I clone some of these beautiful tomatoes. And the way I do that is I literally will pick some suckers off of the plants, and here's a very nice sucker right here, and just let me show it to you. It's this one right here. It's going up. It doesn't have any blooms yet, and so if I trim it right here, what it will do is it will root. So I'm going to trim that one from these Better Boy tomatoes. And I'm going to look for another one that is similar size and shape, and then I will trim it and show you how I put it in the water. And then we will get our pots ready for planting for the squash and the zucchini and the cucumbers. So here is the very first of the Better Boy suckers that I'm going to take, and I'm just going to go down here and cut it off at the base, and then I'm going to take it over here and I'm just going to drop it into the jar of water. And I saw another one over here. This one looks good. See if I can get that. I think I'll take a little more right here, and here it is, and we're going to drop it into the water. And I want to get one more. I like to get about 3, just in case one doesn't root for some reason. And so let's see if I can find a nice third one. And here's one right here. And so I've got 3 suckers to root of these nice, beautiful Better Boy tomatoes. And I'll just put them in the water like this. Let's see if we can see. And that's how they look. And I'll just wait until they root, and then we will plant them into a pot. And so get those ready for the late summer fall garden. Have a second crop of these Better Boy tomatoes. So now we're going to go do the same thing with the early girls. So here's a nice one for the early girls. Take that one right here. I want to get 3. So I'm having trouble finding some that are not blooming. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim this one. And then I'm going to cut off the blooms, because we want it to concentrate on making roots, not trying to make this fruit. There we go. So now I've got 2. And let's go put these in the water. So now I have my early girls and my Better Boys to clone for the late summer fall garden. Now I won't put these in the greenhouse. It's too hot in the greenhouse. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put these on my planting table and let them be in the filtered sunlight and the shade under this tree. So we'll see how that looks here in just a minute. So this is my big persimmon tree, and of course it is loaded with little persimmons. I don't know how well you can see these, but anyway, I've got it under this persimmon tree now, and we are now rooting the early girls and the Better Boys under the filtered sunlight. So now that I have gone ahead and I have started the tomatoes rooting, and they are rooting on the table over there, now I need to prepare 16 pots for starting my seeds for the second garden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these 16 pots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a whole bag of compost and manure down, and then I'm going to fortify that by sprinkling fairly heavily with this 10-10-10. I don't have the whole bag, but here it is. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle this area with 10-10-10. And I'm putting a good bit in there, and in a minute you'll see why. Because I want to get these plants off to a very good start. And then I'm going to go ahead put the whole bag of compost and manure in this little area. And now I'm going to use the rototiller, and I am going to till that up very, very nicely with the regular garden soil, and then I'm going to use that to fill the 16 containers. So let's get with it. 18 pots, and notice I didn't fill them all the way to the top, but what I did was left room so that when the new little plants come up, I can add some soil to fill them to the top, and that'll support the little plants, because the whole idea here is going to be to grow them out on this table for a while, because the sooner I put them in the ground, the sooner the bugs are going to start trying to eat the second crop. So I'm going to grow them out pretty big before I transplant them into the actual garden, and that's why I'm using larger pots. So anyway, let's put them on the table and see how they look. Okay, so this is how everything looks now at the table, and it's ready. Let's take a closer look. So here's the pots that I'm going to plant into. I'm going to plant zucchini into these first 4 pots. I'm going to plant the yellow squash into these next 3. And I'm going to use these 2022 Korean Asian cucumbers, and I'm going to put those in those 3. I'm reserving the back 6 for the tomatoes that I've got rooting that I showed you earlier when I picked those. So let's go ahead and plant these seeds, and I will go ahead and release this part of the video, and then when they come up and I plant them into the garden and these tomatoes have rooted, that will be part 2 of this video of the summer garden, late summer, early fall garden. So let's go ahead and plant these seeds. So folks, that's how I have prepared the garden for late summer, July planting of the late summer garden, to get one more crop of all these vegetables that I'm getting so many of right now. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe. Every time you like it, it makes YouTube want to give it to somebody else to see. And if you subscribe, of course, that helps too. They'll give you a notification if you hit the notification bell. And we will see you on the next video, and we will also see you when this comes up and I'm ready to plant it into the garden. Thank you for watching.